So in this video I'm going to go over some of the mods that I've done to the Pp700SA. And since I have it apart, I figured it'd be a good time to show everybody what the different things that I've done are. First off, the most modification that I did to was the valve. And I also want to let anybody know if they do any of these mods, its results could vary, and you could completely destroy your gun, make it not work anymore. So take caution when doing anything, and then also when tearing any of this stuff apart, make sure you have everything depressurized and always use precaution. So with the valve, we'll start there. First thing that I did is when I tore it apart, let me take this little nylon bushing is something that I added in, and it was just a piece that I found in one of the parts kits that I have. So it's just a random size that fit in there, but I'm sure you could use an O-ring also, and it would seal up just fine. If I can get it out. There we go. So the first thing I did is I took a 332 drill bit, and I picked the size that was matched the largest part, or the smallest part of that hole, and I drilled right through the center. So normally you would just have this little port, and now you have that big hole there. So then the second thing I did to the valve is same thing here. Drilled that out to the biggest size, or to the same size, the 332. Opened it up a little bit, and also your normal little transfer port would be right there, and I opened that up with that same drill bit going all the way through. I went at an angle like that. You could just go straight up and down and drill another hole in there, but I just used that first hole as a pilot hole. Then once I had the rest of the regulator, all the internals pulled out, so you can see here, normally you would have like a little Allen head screw, or that you could screw out. You'd put an Allen key in there and screw it out. Inside of that screw there, that's hollow, and what I did is I took and I hammered out 3 of these. They would be 5/16 out of the top of an old pellet lid. So I got 3 of them little pieces of tin and put them down inside of that screw that goes right here. So on the back side of the screw, these went in, and on each layer I did 3 layers of those, and I used JB weld in between each layer and just pressed them down in there. Once I got them all 3 in, I put the screw back in flush, a little bit more than flush, and then I filled this in all with JB weld too, just to seal that up, make sure that I don't have any leaks, and it so far has worked good. So that's the valve on the mods that I've done to the valve. It's or regulator, sorry, regulator. So those were all drilled open opened everything up. And then the next thing that I did is I took that same drill bit, the 332, and your transfer port here, that goes, let's see, get a flashlight here so you can see in there better. So your transfer port that goes up in to where your valve is at. Let's see see if you can see that drill bit sticking through there. Maybe there, you can see the drill bit kind of sticking through there. So I drilled just through there at the same size. I figure I'd keep the same size on everything because airflow is only going to travel through so fast. So if this is this size, there's no reason to make the ones further down any bigger. And I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's my logic that I used. So we have that drilled out going up into there. The other thing I did, and this isn't because you have to, just because I wanted it to look good, where you would have adjusted your regulator at through the trigger guard here, I filled that in with JB Weld. You don't have to do that. I just did it, and I planned on using some Sharpie or whatever and make that black, just so there isn't a hole there. So you can do that if you want. If you do that, when you go to put your valve back in, or your regulator, sorry, there's gonna be pressure against it because that air is gonna get trapped between them two O-rings in the back. So you can see there, it's trapped a little bit, but when you push it down and bolt it down, it holds. So it doesn't seem to hurt anything. So if you were not to fill that with JB Weld, you might not have that issue. Then some of the other things that I've done that I'll go over is I went and polished all of the trigger parts. Just used some buffing compound and polished them. One thing on the trigger parts, always be careful, because if you take too much off, which I did, you'll end up having to get new parts for your trigger. And on mine right there, you can see that there is some JB Weld on there. That's because I took too much off of that edge right there, and that caused me so that the hammer wouldn't reset all the way. When you pulled it back, the hammer would actually go back up a ways, so you wouldn't get full contact on your valve. So if you do polish your trigger or anything like that, be careful. Don't take too much off like I did. Then the last thing that I've done was the Huma regulator, and installed that. And basically that just slides right into your air tube with the brass part, your adjustment screw, facing towards the gauge of the air tube. And I also opted to make a notch on mine right on the edge there, and that I just used a file. Overall, that's all the mods I've made to it. I will also do a shot string from 200 bar. We'll go from 200 bar all the way down until it drops off the regulator, and I'll add that into the end of this video. So then if you want to do these mods, you can see how much you will gain off of doing them, or what the difference is between mine and yours. And you can decide if it's worth it or not to try and do them or not. Okay, we're filled back up to 200 bar. And we'll go ahead and do another shot string and see what we get.
Right there, we should be off the regulator. We're actually below 100 bar now.